not all psychologists explain behavior the same way. Some focus on what's happening inside, like hormonal differences. Some focus on thought patterns, while others focus on the culture in which we live. Psychologists call these different explanations perspectives. Think of them like changing the lens on your camera. We all see the world just a little bit different. And these perspectives, there are 7 of them that we're going to dissect in this video, all the way from biological to an evolutionary perspective. And to make this very real world, we're going to focus on something that's very present with our students. We're going to come back to the idea of test anxiety, that uneasy feeling right before we take an exam. All right, so let's focus on our first perspective, the biological perspective. And this says behavior is shaped by what's happening on the inside. Think physiological changes. For example, behavior is shaped by what's happening inside the brain, the idea that our brain is rewired differently with all of us. Or maybe it's chemical imbalances, right? Like hormonal differences. Or things that are passed down from biological parents, things through genetics, right? All of these are from the biological perspective. And when we think about test anxiety, what is creating that feeling? Well, it could be a couple things. What is actually happening inside the brain? We might have an overactive amygdala. Amygdala, what is the amygdala? This is a part of the brain that triggers the fight or flight response, right? It's like danger, 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 right? It's overactive. While the prefrontal cortex, the part that's supposed to make us rational and calm us down, might be deactivated while the amygdala is kind of on high alert. Or maybe test anxiety is caused by a hormone that's being released called cortisol, right? Causing the sweating and feeling of dizziness that's kind of flooding our system, also leading to that fight or flight. This is the biologic perspective. Now, another perspective is called the cognitive perspective, right? And what does this say? This says behavior is shaped by thinking, the way we think about the world, right? You can actually use it in a sentence. What happens when you don't sleep? Right? We have a decline in our cognitive functioning, right? So it's not just about thinking, it's about memory, right? Our memory isn't working very well. We're not able to retrieve or recall information, the way we solve problems or make decisions, right? So anything that deals with thinking processes is we call the cognitive perspective, the way we interpret the world around us. And so the thing about test anxiety is that it's not something in the brain, it's how we think about the world, right? In other words, we might be experiencing what psychologists call cognitive what? Cognitive distortions, right? These are irrational ways we think about the world. Like, if I fail the test, my life will be over, right? We're catastrophizing. Or all or none thinking. If I get one question wrong, that means everything is a failure. So if we think that way, you can see why we would experience so much test anxiety. All right, we also have the behavioral perspective. Now, to understand the behavioral perspective, I know this is weird. I want us to think of us as dogs. I know, I want us to think about like animals, right? You give a dog a treat, it's gonna sit. You yell at a dog, it's gonna stop doing a behavior. We are basically the same type of species. And so from the behavioral perspective, what we're gonna say is that all behavior, okay, I don't mean one behavior, I mean everything we do, all behavior is learned, okay? In other words, to go back to test anxiety, right? It was a learned response. The idea is this. All behavior is shaped by associations. Like seeing a green light, you know that's go, red means stop, right? Or by consequences. If I do something good, like go to work, I get a paycheck, right? If I do something bad, I get scolded. Life is about rewards, punishments, consequences, and associations. And so here's the idea. When you're born, a test means nothing. It's just a piece of paper. But maybe you didn't do so well on a test, right, for many, many years. And so what happens is the brain forms this association, like a dog forms association that a doorbell means somebody's at the door, that this is going to lead to bad things. So we can actually use a couple phrases. In Pavlovian terms, the test has become what we call the conditioned stimulus. Okay, the conditioned stimulus, meaning that it's something that's learned that we associate with something. And when we have the test, it's going to produce what we call a conditioned response. Okay, which in this case is test anxiety. The brain has formed an association, right, that's going to linger on and on and on. Now you can counter condition yourself by doing better. That, of course, will take some time. All right, now the most bizarre theory, okay, I love this perspective. There's not a lot of evidence for it, empirical evidence, but it's still pretty cool. This is the psychodynamic perspective. Is it possible that there's behaviors or things that you do that you're not even aware of or why you do it? If so, the psychodynamic perspective will explain it. Here's the idea. You have to think about the mind like an iceberg. On the top is what we call the conscious mind, right? These are things that you're aware of, your thoughts, your beliefs, your emotions. And underneath the surface, because most of an iceberg is beneath the surface, is what we call the unconscious mind. This contains all the deep, dark things, the ominous, scary things that still affect you today, but you're not aware of. And here's the idea. In the unconscious is what Freud would say, this is the work of psychoanalyst Sigmund Freud, are what we call repressed memories. Okay? These are memories, okay, that are traumatic, that are emotional, that things we don't want to think about. Repressed means push below the surface. So imagine when you were 5 years old, right? Here's a 5-year-old memory, and you were belittled or you were disappointed your parents, right? And because you disappointed your parents, you were scolded. Now you repress that memory below the surface. You don't think about it. But still today, that repressed memory is still flowing to the surface, okay? And that's flowing to the surface in the form of test anxiety. Right? That even though this anxiety is about a test, what it's really about is this memory when you're 5, feeling like you're disappointing your parents. And that's what's manifesting in terms of what's happening today as maybe a teenager. I know, love this theory, but still controversial. All right, what about the culture in which we live? If biology and cognitive are what's going on the inside, this is what's on the outside, the sociocultural perspective. Here's the idea. We are shaped by social norms, right? Our environment plays such a big effect of us, okay? What is important to us, how we greet each other, what utensils do we use, right? These are what we call social norms. Or maybe we're shaped by family values, what our family tells us. And because we live in the digital age, you can't ignore things like social media, right? All of these things, and even socioeconomic status, are the culture, sociocultural things that affect us. So what would this have to do with test anxiety? Well, think about social norms. If you're from a culture or nationality or a race or ethnicity that thinks tests are really important, that's going to stay with you your whole life. You're going to hear it over and over and over again, especially on social media. Or maybe you're from a culture where tests are not valued, right? And so it might not be as important. So if you have test anxiety, maybe that's the norm, the societal expectation from that culture. Or maybe it's a family value, right? Maybe it's based in religion, where a parent says to you something along the lines of, make us proud. Ooh, think of the pressure. Make us proud, right? And that pressure from your family, from society, is kind of leaning into you, which creates this feeling of anxiety. So we want to think of things outside of us that we're not just born in a vacuum that do affect us. All right, the sixth perspective is what we call the evolutionary perspective. And this is the idea that behavior is shaped by things that are adaptive. You see, even though it's the 21st century, your brain still thinks like a caveman. In other words, everything about us is adaptive. If it's not going to help us survive, it doesn't really serve a purpose. And so from the evolutionary perspective, everything has an adaptive function. Okay, adaptive function. And these functions, it could be everything from having an opposable thumb to even anxiety itself is good because it helps us predict unknown things. It serves a purpose. It helps us survive. It helps us reproduce. Think about natural selection. Things that are going to help us survive will be likely to be passed down. And so when you think about test anxiety, right, from an evolutionary perspective, it's the idea that your brain doesn't think of a test as just a normal multiple choice thing. What it thinks about a test is that a test is really a threat, right? It's a threat to your survival, right? Kind of your caveman brain is like, oh my God, if I don't do well on this test, I'm going to die, right? I'm not going to survive. I'm not going to reproduce. We have to think about ourselves in terms of cavemen, that everything is adaptive and everything about us is truly a threat to our survival and reproduction. All right, we're on our last perspective, what we call the humanistic perspective. Now, psychodynamic says we're not in control of our behavior. Our behavior perspective says we're basically dogs. Humanism came about as an opposition to those, saying, no, 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 we have control. We have free will. The idea of this perspective is that we are all growing as people, right? I'm going to use the phrase personal growth, right? We're all trying to become better people. I'm trying to become a better teacher. I'm trying to become a better dad, a better husband. I'm always seeking to become a better person. And through that, I'm trying to have value, which is what we call self-worth, right? I want to be accepted I want to be liked. I want to feel like I have something to contribute to this world. And so the idea of the humanist perspective is I love to think of ourselves looking in a mirror, right? In a mirror is what I'll call our ideal self, okay? This is the work of Carl Rogers. And he had this idea that your ideal self is who you think you are. I'm attractive, I'm smart, I'm athletic, right? But does that match reality? And when reality and our ideal self don't match, that leads to incongruence and issues in our mind. If we think about test anxiety, the thought of failure is not a knock on your GPA. The thought of failure, right, if you do fail, is a knock to your identity, right? You don't feel like who you are. You don't feel like you have self-worth. And this idea of humanistic perspective, we're all trying to grow as people. And the idea of test anxiety is a hindrance to that growth as a person. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next video, and leave a comment below. See you next time.